What about the too many dollars part? Well, here's where the Fed comes in. What the Fed wants to try and do is cause something called demand destruction. In other words, less demand, so less dollars. How do they do that? When they raise short-term interest rates, like the Fed funds rate, that's the only thing they can control, and it was at zero. They've gone through 3 hikes now, and they've taken it up to 1.5%. But it's very likely the 27th of this month, you'll see at least another 3/4, maybe a full 1% hike to slow things down. So what does that do? It increases car loan borrowing costs, home equity loans, credit cards, personal loans, but the big one is the commercial and industrial loans because they're all based on the Fed funds rate. And that's that, like $300 million expansion or acquisition or buy a factory or build a factory. All those are based upon these short-term rates. And if the Fed goes from 0 to 3 or 4%, well, now your borrowing costs get way out of whack. And so you borrow less. By borrowing less dollars. What's inflation? Too many dollars chasing too few goods. So the Fed's trying to make less dollars. It also gives you an incentive to save. Remember when you used to go to the bank and you used to get like 0.01% for your savings, right? Wasn't a lot of fun. But what's proven is that as human beings, it is proven, if interest rates are below 2% that we receive for saving money, we tend not to save and we tend to look for riskier things or spend it. Once you get above 2% for a savings rate, people's minds switch and they start to see a return and they start to save more money. So we get a savings rate to 3 or 4% by the end of this year. Well, now what the Fed will do is, remember, inflation is too many dollars chasing too few goods. They take more dollars out because instead of people spending it, they would save it. So that's what the Fed's trying to do. So believe it or not, by the Fed hiking rates, mortgage rates come down. We've seen that. When the Fed hiked last on June 15th of last month, mortgage rates have since come down. So people who are inexperienced and don't know, and the vast majority of the media is under this category, they think, oh, the Fed hikes rates, so mortgage rates go up. It's the exact opposite. And there's proof of this. Most recently, a big one was with Alan Greenspan when he was the Fed chair. To fight inflation, raised 2% on the Fed funds rate in a year. Mortgage rates came down 3%. How about this one? Paul Volcker, when he was our Fed chair back in the 80s, he had to get inflation under control because it was crazy. He raised the Fed funds rate from 8.5% to 20%, so an 11.5% raise. He did it in 6 months. But mortgage rates came down 6% during that time. So Fed funds rate up. If it's perceived that it's going to fight inflation, mortgage rates come down. So mortgage rates and inflation and the Fed, this is where I wanted to start with, because if we understand this, now we know where we can go with our future and how we can understand where rates are going and how that affects real estate values.